So the topic today is the best helmet for adventure trips. When I say adventure trip, keep in mind that the adventure is different for everyone. For one person could be an adventure just to go to the supermarket with a motorcycle. For other to go to the end of the world only off-road. So adventure is always different for different people, but maybe it's more accurate to say the best helmet for long motorcycle trips or for motorcycle trips, because also there is a difference between a trip that will last 3 days and a trip that will last a month or more. The level of comfort that you're gonna need for 3 days with a helmet is one, for a month is going to be different. It's not only the comfort, also reliability of this helmet, or how easy it is to use it every single day for many hours, or many more like that. No, I honestly forgot, Richard. I'm gonna check it out. MT450. We don't have it here. I can see only pictures or some videos, but they're not gonna be that correct, because you know, sometimes the things look perfect on paper, and when you see it with your own eyes, it's completely disaster. So it might work. I don't know. What is your opinion about it, Richard? Oh, 5 people already say the counter. Guys, please introduce yourself. I know Forrest and Richard, but who are the rest of the guys? Light 500cc, everything I need, reliability unknown. This is always a problem, and unfortunately we cannot understand it, or cannot prove reliability until a few years are come and owners share their experience. That's why I always prefer to bet on a safe horse or something that is already proven. But you know, if you don't risk, or if you don't make experiments, you might lose sometimes. But honestly, I prefer to stay with the brands and models that I know. Big D, good evening. So Richard, I don't know what to say about this. I'll suggest to stay with the proven motorcycle that you have, and then if you try to switch it or change it with something similar, go to the same brand. Maybe this is the best way, or this is what I do. I don't want to change the brand now, because with Yamaha I know what I'm gonna get from it. With the new brand, it's always a new surprises. They might be good, but they also might be bad, so you never know. But if the price is good, if everything is good, it's not gonna hurt at least to try it. And also in UK you have this chance to go and make a test ride. You can even buy it and sell it after that, but here in Bulgaria, if you buy something, it's supposed to be for a long time, otherwise you're gonna lose a lot of money. Yeah, what is proven, not what is promised. Yeah, this is also. But in UK, as I said, at least you're gonna have the chance to take something for test ride, maybe even to buy it, keep it for a couple of months, and sell it back to the shop or to the other drivers. But here in Bulgaria, yeah, test ride will be interesting. Always will tell you a lot. At least you will know, is it your bike or not? Because the opinion of other people is always subjective, and you never know. Ludovic Pap. A new member. I have KLA 500, old but gold. Helmet on flip up. Okay, my helmet is flip up. Alright, Ludovic. So guys, let me start now here with the helmets. As usual, I will try to complete the list that I have here on the left side first, and after that I'm gonna give you enough time to add something or to ask questions if you have any. So we all together can make a nice conversation that will be helpful and useful for many people that will watch the stream after that. So the topic today is the best helmet for adventure trips. When I say adventure trip, keep in mind that the adventure is different for everyone. For one person could be an adventure just to go to the supermarket with a motorcycle. For other, to go to the end of the world only off-road. So adventure is always different for different people, but maybe it's more accurate to say the best helmet for long motorcycle trips or for motorcycle trips, because also there is a difference between a trip that will last 3 days and a trip that will last a month or more. The level of comfort that you're gonna need for 3 days with a helmet is one, for a month is going to be different. It's not only the comfort, also reliability of this helmet, or how easy it is to use it every single day for many hours, or many more like that. But let's say the best helmet for adventure trips will be like a common word for everything that I'm about to say. So the best helmet for adventure trips is the one that suits your needs. This is what I would like to start with, and this is what I strongly believe, because there is no one universal helmet that will work for everyone and will be useful or comfortable for everyone. First of all, because we all got different preferences, we've got different heads, we've got different ways to use our helmets, or for what we use our helmets. For example, I film my trips, which is mean that I supposed to have a camera and microphone in my helmet. If you don't do this, the requirements might be different. So the importance of the helmet, I don't need even to tell you what it is. It is to protect your head from crash accidents, injuries, anything. But not only, also from a cold days, hot days, from the wind, from all weather conditions that you're gonna experience during your trips. The main purpose, of course, is to protect your head, and as you saw, maybe some of you did not, but some of you saw, during my crash accident in Turkey, my helmet was broken here on the rear side, which is mean that without the helmet, I wouldn't be here now to talk with you. That important is the helmet. You can make a lot of compromises with the gear, like riding gear, pants, boots, gloves, anything. Of course, I will not recommend to do it, but if you like to make a compromise, it's alright, but never with the helmet. And before I even start, I would like to say, just buy the best helmet that you can afford. If this is a helmet for 50 euros, because this is what you can afford at the moment, buy a helmet for 50 euros. If this is a helmet for 1,500 euros, go ahead and buy it, whatever you can afford. But make sure that it's the best that you can afford at the moment. Even though I don't really believe that the expensive helmet will provide more safety, it is still better to buy a quality helmet, if you can afford it. I, for example, cannot afford to change my helmet every year and buy a helmet that costs 1,000 euros. I just cannot afford it. If I have it, if I have enough money, I will bet for probably something like 400 to 500 euros helmet. 1,500 sounds like a lot to me, and I'm not interested from most of the features or options that expensive helmets provide. I need just a reliable, simple helmet that is not so heavy and provide the necessary protection, but that's me. So I cannot tell you what will be the best helmet, but I can tell you what are the pros and the cons, and you have to decide what will be the best for you. Again, these pros and cons, they also are subjective for everyone, because for some people a pros might be a con, or for other a con might be a pros. But anyway, you know what I mean. So let's start with the options. Number one, so the way I count them, number 1, 2, 3 to 5, is just not with significant order. When I said number 1, it doesn't mean that number 1 is the best helmet or number 5 is the worst helmet. It's just the numbers. So number 1 is a modular helmet or flip-up helmet, what just Ludovic suggests. The one that is so popular around this adventure riders community because it has a lot of pros. But first I will start with the cons. The cons of this modular or flip-up helmets. So once again, modular or flip-up helmet is the one that you can open from here without the need to remove it and close it again when you need to have a wind protection. So let's start with the cons. Usually they are more expensive than other helmets. And if you want a good brand, something like Aero, Shui, or some other brands like Schubert, that means you have to pay over 700 to 800 euros for this type of helmets. Even more, depends on the models. So they are too expensive. The second con is that they are too heavy. Usually they weigh around 100, maybe 150, sometimes even 200 grams more than a normal helmet because of all of these plastics and these mechanisms that they've got here to open it and close it. That's why they weight a little bit more. Even if they use a premium quality materials, they still weight more than a normal helmet from premium quality materials. So 150, 200 grams. Now you might say 150 grams is not that bad. It is not, but it is noticeable when you need to ride for many hours. For example, my helmet cam that I use here, it was GoPro, now I use this DJI Osmo, weight around 150 grams altogether, everything. And on some stage I start to feel it. It is noticeable. So when your helmet is already heavy and you put another camera on the top, it's for many days and hours it's noticeable. So first con is too expensive, second is too heavy. The third one, which is related to my trips, it might not be a problem to you, is because it is difficult to mount a camera and microphone if you use one. So usually the cameras are put here on the top, on the side, or on the chin. In my opinion, on the chin is the best location because it provides the most natural view from the camera, the one that your eyes see. And it is the same for everyone who is going to watch the video after that. And also it's the best location which provides the easiest access to the buttons of the camera with left hand or with right hand. You can turn it on and turn it off easy. Here on the side, some people like this view. I don't really like it because usually you see part of the helmet and it's very difficult to find the button, especially while you ride. Even if you look yourself on the mirror, you know, this mirror image, always put your finger on the wrong direction. So it's very difficult to use the camera and it is dangerous while you ride because you might have an accident because of the camera. Even though my camera is here, the access is very easy. I can easily turn it on with a left hand while I use the right with the throttle. I had many situations in which these situations to turn on or turn off the camera distract me from the road and I was just about to drop the bike or something like that, especially if you ride in difficult terrains or some muddy or rainy situations. That's why it's always better to have as easy as possible access to the camera to turn it on and turn it off. Anyway, it might not be related to you if you don't try to film your trips, but I just need to cover all the moments here. So first, it's difficult to mount the camera because you cannot have it on the chin. If you have it on the chin, when you flip your helmet, it's go on the top. When you put it down, it's here. Okay, maybe it will work for some people, but then the next problem is how you're gonna mount the microphone, if you need microphone, of course. If you don't need microphone, it's fine. If you flip it, it will go there, that's fine. If you close it, it will be here, you'll have a nice view. You cannot put it on the side because this mechanism is also open and closed. You cannot have it on the top because of the mechanism. So the only position will be the chin. But again, if you have a microphone, how are you going to connect the microphone with the camera? It's just impossible. Even if you have a stable microphone, like on the Bluetooth here on the side, it needs to be somehow connected with the cable to the camera. And this is a problem only if you use helmet and microphones as I do. So this might not be a con, but just to have it as an option or as information. The next one that it's a con, at least for me, is that the modular helmets, they don't have peak, like the hat. They don't have this peak. And for me this is a problem, because when you need to ride many hours, especially early mornings with the sun in front of your eyes, the peak is just priceless. What you have to do is just put down a little bit your face, and then you have no problem with the direct sunlight. Even if you have a sunglasses integrated in the helmet, or just another sunglasses, it is not the same. The sun, one way or another, still will go to your eyes, and you will be tired and you will be blind in many situations, and this is also dangerous, as you know. When you have the peak, you just lower it like that and no problems whatsoever. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying to do it all the time, but you still have some kind of visibility under your peak and you're not blinded from the sun. Also, when you don't have the peak, it is easy to scratch or break the visor. Especially if you drop your helmet on the ground, it's always go into the visor. If you drop it 10 times, 9 times it will scratch or damage, or maybe even destroy, break the visor. If you have a peak, this is not going to happen, because here is the visor and here is the peak. The peak actually protects the visor. So that's why I don't like helmets without peaks. First reason, because of the sun. Second, because it protects the visor. And the last one that I like to mention on the topic of modular helmets is that these mechanisms, these modular mechanisms to be possible to open and close it, they compromised the safety of the helmet, or the strength of the helmet, because the helmet need to be cut here, and they have these mechanisms with locks and anything, but it's not the same like to have a one big strong shell as a normal street helmet or enduro helmet or even off-road helmet. They have one shell, not two different shells that are locked between with some kind of locking mechanisms. So it is possible during the accidents, this mechanism to break and open and completely expose your face to the ground or car or stone or whatever you faced in this accident. Also, it may break and completely fall apart. That's why in terms of safety, it doesn't matter what statistics or studies or tests people are showing on their videos or whatever, their websites. I still believe that this flip-flop or flip-up system compromised the safety. Let's now see what are the pros of this flip-up or modular helmets. First and most important, they are comfortable. They are comfortable because it is easy to talk with people or do something. You just need to open it, and then you can communicate with people or do something on the motorcycle. You basically don't need to remove the helmet, especially if the helmet is exactly for you, the right size. It is fit perfectly to your head, so you don't feel it and you don't need to remove it. You can just open it, communicate with the border officer, or go to the shop, buy something. It's not like to go with the helmet with the weird small window here, try to talk through the visor. It's usually a little annoying, but when you have this possibility to open it, I understand it's comfortable, it's useful, that's why people love it. It is nice when you have this chance or possibility to lift it on the hot days and just ride with the fresh air in your face, even though it's not safe in my opinion, because you might have accident even in the hot days and then your face is exposed. But it's a good option for many people to open it during the hot days and to breathe more. Or if you have a problem with breathing, or you have a hard breathing, it will be much better if you just open your helmet and take a nice breath instead of trying to breathe through the visor of your helmet. And it is very easy to use this helmet. Another pro is that it's easy when you wear glasses. That's why most of the people that wear glasses, just dioptrical glasses, they prefer to have these modular helmets, because it is easy to put your helmet, put the glasses and then close it. Even though some of the new helmets, it doesn't matter, enduro helmets or open face or normal street helmets, they have some gaps here to put your glasses. It is always easy when you have this modular helmet. That is almost always 95% of the people who wear glasses use modular helmets. So this is everything that I wanted to say on the topic of a modular helmet. Just a second. Okay. Let's go to the second now, which is a normal street helmet or travel helmet, whatever you want to name it. Just a normal helmet, one big shell without peak, the one that usually guys use for sport bikes, for race bikes, for travel bikes. It could be used for anything. The cons of these helmets, in my opinion, is that they are just too tight. And I don't mean too tight on the head. The tightness on the head, it depends of you. You can find and buy the proper size and it will be alright. Also, there is a difference between the head of people. So some helmets are very nice for my head, for example, others are not. But when you have the right helmet for your head and the right size, the tightness here is not going to be a problem. But it is still very tight here around your face and around your mouth. So you don't have much room to breathe. It's actually like just a maybe maximum 2 finger, maybe 1.5 finger, just like that. They're just too tight, they're pressed too tight. And when you need to have this helmet for many days, many hours, on some stage might be powerful. There is no room for breathing at all. There is no room at all, especially when you close the visor. It's difficult to breathe. So, and if the most of the new models now, they've got this under the chin protection here. It could be from leather or from some kind of synthetic material, just to close this gap to provide a better protection from the wind and everything. But all of this close even more the possibility to breathe. And as I said, it's just too tight and no room for breathing. If you plan to film something like me, the camera mounting is not a problem. You can have it here on the chin or any place that you have. But the microphone is a problem because of this very tiny space here or not enough room in the helmet. So I used this type of helmet on few of my trips, and the microphone actually was touching my lips all the time, and it was very, very annoying because there is no room to put this microphone at all. If you use microphone, if you don't use the microphone, only the next of the cons that I said: too tight, no room for breathing. The next one is the peak. I already explained you everything about the peak. There is no peak on this type of helmets. And I told you about the pluses and minuses about this. And as I said before, easy to break and scratch the visor if you drop it on the ground. Again, the same as the modular helmet. And as I mentioned with the modular helmets, some of the new models or the more expensive models with these street helmets, they've got a special gaps here to put the sunglasses, so sunglasses are not a problem. The pros of this, one more. These street helmets, the last con that I wanted to say, is a questionable ventilation. Some of them got really nice ventilation, but some of them got a terrible ventilation. But of course this depends on the model. But because of this tightness, because of this lack of room inside of the helmets, the ventilation is always a little bit more compromised with this type of helmets. But again, there are models that got a good ventilation, good construction with a lot of vents, holes and anything. Let's see now the process. The pros of these helmets are they have a better shape in terms of let's say you don't feel the wind, you don't feel anything because they've got this really nice optical shape, and also they're quiet. You don't have a wind that will buffeting in your peak, so they are really quiet, a nice shape and quiet. Usually the prices are better than modular helmets. The prices are better even than Enduro helmets because I don't know, there is a big choice of this type of helmets with better or at least normal prices. And as I said, big choice. You can have many different models and colors and shapes, much more than you can have if you decided to go to Enduro or modular helmet. These optical glasses are not a problem, I already told you, and but most of them also have integrated sunglasses, the one that you can use just to press a button and have it while you ride. It is the same with modular helmets. This is another one of the pros of the modular helmets. They've got these integrated sunglasses that you can use. And so I told you the cons, I told you the pros. Let's now go to number 3, open face helmet. This is a model that many people prefer to use. Even my friend and mechanic Plamen always ride with open face helmet. He cannot even imagine to ride with a normal closed helmet. When he needs to ride on a long trip, mostly off-road, he goes with an off-road helmet with the goggles. But we're gonna come to this on the next number 4. But many people prefer to have this open face helmet, and they said, no man, I cannot have anything else than open face. I cannot breathe with other helmets. They are too heavy, they are too complicated, I cannot see well, and so on and so on. But let's start with the, so you understand what are open face helmet, just the up to here with a visor, but without chin protection, without all of this. So cons, they are too noisy. Because they are not closed, they are too noisy. You get the noise from all sides of the helmet. They are too cold in the winter, you cannot close it. So all the winter and cold temperature will go under the visor and you will feel it. Even if you have enough clothes, you will feel it more than if you have a normal helmet. They will be too hot in the hot days. You know, on the temperatures over 35 degrees, it is better to close the visor of your helmet, but when you have an open face, that means all of the heat will go in your face all the time and you cannot protect it. Also, they don't offer enough protection. Just because you don't have this chin here, it's already enough to compromise your protection. In 90% of the crashes, face crashes, when you have a direct impact, the first thing that you're gonna hit is going to be your chin. And when you don't have protection here, I cannot imagine what will be. Even with the chin protection, it's already dangerous enough. But without it, it's a very risky, in my opinion. Next is that it's difficult with camera and mic, with the obvious reasons. You cannot have it on the chin; it should be on the side. If you have a microphone, again, it's a problem. But again, this is not for everyone. And because they don't have a peak, I already told you, easy to break or scratch the visor. So let's see now what are the pros of these open face helmets. I'm not gonna discuss even the last option, which usually the cruisers used. They are just like that, like this. Tsukalo is the name in Bulgarian. But anyway, they are not even in our list here. They are just maybe to ride around the city. Anyway, let's now see the pros of the open face helmets. Number 1, they are very cheap. So you can have basically for 50-60 euros a nice, a decent quality open face helmet, and it will serve you well for probably around a year before you scratch the visor and destroy everything. Also, they very easy is to destroy the paddings because they are all the time exposed to the wind, rain and everything, so they actually finish their lives much quicker. So number 1, they are cheap. Number 2, they are light. They are much lighter than others because, you know, they don't have like 20-30% of the material that other helmets got. They've got a good amount of models, and you have a good choice. If you like to go for this type of helmets, you'll find so many, hundreds, thousands even, because every scooter rider or delivery packages rider or almost everyone in the cities use this open face helmet, so a lot of choice. No breathing problems, so you can breathe basically without any problems. No fog, they don't get foggy because they are always open and there is no temperature difference between outside and inside, so actually they don't get foggy. Maybe in the really foggy situations or really rainy a little bit, but still better than any other helmet. And they're not a problem if you have optical or sunglasses, and most of them also comes with integrated sunglasses. So pros and cons already told you. Let's see now the 4th option, off-road helmet with goggles. As I said, my friend and mechanic Plamen always use this combination. I always wondering why. We always discuss the minuses with him, and he said yes, you're right, but I just cannot handle any other helmet. But anyway, let's see the cons. Too cold in the winter or in the cold days. Too hot in the hot days. It's windy because The goggles, they don't insulate properly, so you have the wind always going into your ears and your head. You cannot protect it because it should just open it. When it's rain, all the rain goes inside. It's wetty, windy and wetty, and it is noisy. They are very noisy because again of this open gap here. They are not insulated properly. The next is the one that I not hate, the one that is the worst in my opinion. They provide bad visibility. So when you have these goggles, let me show you. When you have the goggles, you actually limit your side view. So instead of having like that, let's say what it is, like 150 degrees probably, you limit it like that. So especially when you ride in the city, every time when you need to see something behind your shoulder, you need to completely move your body. If you don't have this, I can make only like that, but with this, with goggles, I have to make like 180 degrees to see what is behind me. So about 20-30% of the possible angle that you see, or the view angle, is compromised because of the goggles, and it is dangerous. Goggles are a perfect solution when you need to ride off-road in the forest, where you need to concentrate on everything which is in front of you. You don't need to worry about a car coming from the left or an old man who haven't seen you and try to walk in front of you from the right. You're focused on the road and that's it. But to travel many kilometers, many days, many different towns and villages and dangerous situations, especially in the traffic with goggles, in my opinion, it's not solution at all. Very dangerous even. But some people prefer to do it. I don't know why. I understand for off-road riding, yeah, absolutely, there is no better option than goggles. But now we are talking about adventure trips, traveling, long trips, and that's why for me it is not an option at all. And the last con is that they don't have integrated sunglasses. And to go on the trip without integrated sunglasses means that if it's a bright sunny day, you'll have a difficulty to see what it is, or you should have a separate sunglasses to use anytime. But it's a problem because you have to store these sunglasses somewhere, in your tank bag or in your top box or panniers, whatever. And every time when you have sun, you need to stop, remove, put your glasses, and when it's in dark situation, you have to remove it. But when you have integrated sunglasses, it's just struck, that's it. So without glasses, it's not an option for me. So that's enough for off-road type of the cons of the off-road helmet with goggles. Let's see what are the pros. There is no fog on it because the goggles are designed to prevent fog. They might get foggy in very difficult and rare situations, but usually you don't have fog with goggles because the air circulates from outside and prevent it. They're cheaper than any other model of the helmets. You can find very budget options, and they provide more than enough room for breathing. Usually the chin here, it's extended forward, so you have more than enough room to breathe, no problem with breathing. So the pros, no fog, cheap and enough room, it's very valid when you ride off-road. When you ride on the normal roads, especially on the cold and rainy days, all of this, it's a big con for me. Anyway, let's now to the last model, number 5, Enduro or dual sport helmet with peak. The one that I use or most of the travel riders used. I'll start with the cons again. It is heavier than street, off-road and open face helmets, but it is lighter than modular helmets. So compared to the street, off-road and open face helmet, these Enduro type helmets are a little bit heavier because they have a peak, and they usually are a little bit more stronger materials or heavier materials. But if you compare them to the modular helmets, they are lighter. The second con is that they are noisy, but again depends on the model. You can have a nice model that is not noisy, quiet enough with good insulation, good paddings and everything. But if you buy something budget, like I have at the moment this O'Neill helmet, it's very noisy helmet. And the last con is that they have problem with the wind if you ride on the high speed. If you ride on 90, 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, as I do usually, it's fine. But if you plan to ride with 140, 50, 60, 180 kilometers per hour, then this peak is a problem, because it's like a sail. When the wind got it, it's like, it actually move your head like that. And when you ride and you just lift your head a little bit, you feel it immediately, like immediately. So this peak is a problem when you ride on a high speed. That's why on the sport bikes you will never see peaks. But again, it depends. In terms of ventilation, depends on the model. Some of the models got super ventilation, some of the models do not have any ventilation. So depends on the model. The O'Neill that I've got perfect ventilation, but the problem with my O'Neill is that I cannot close all of these ventilation pockets. They're not closable. So I've got this ventilation all the time, and during the winter I feel it. So I actually use a scotch inside of the holes to type it to protect the wind to go into my head. Now let's see the pros of this Enduro or dual sport helmet that I discussed. Pros. They've got this protected visor because of the peak that I told you earlier. The visor is protected. The shape of the visor usually is a little bit more bended like that, and it stays under your peak, so you cannot really actually break it. It might happen in some specific situations, but I will say that it's very, very difficult. Since I've got this helmet, I've got so many drops on the helmet on the ground. I have many times me myself dropping on the ground. I never ever break a visor on a Enduro type helmet. No worries, Gordy. We almost finish it, but don't worry, you'll be able to see the stream on Saturday. Okay, let's continue. So first pros is that they have a protected visor because of the peak. The second is that I don't need to remind you once again what is the protection from the sun, direct sun, from the mud or even stones if in front of you riding another rider and spinning the wheel all the time, a lot of mud and stones going into your face, so you can actually tilt your head a little bit, and the visor and the peak will protect the visor and your face actually. About the ventilation, I told you, some of these helmets provide too much ventilation, some of them provide none. They usually provide enough breathing room because of the shape of this helmet. Usually the chin, it's a little bit more extended than a normal street helmet, so they provide here enough room for breathing. So if you go into some kind of more difficult terrain or off-road situation, you definitely will have more room to breathe with an Enduro helmet than a normal street helmet or modular helmet if you keep it close. Of course, if you go to difficult situation with this Enduro helmet and your visor is closed, it will probably get foggy immediately. Even if you have a pin lock, it will get foggy, but you can open it and continue traveling with the safety and ventilation at the same time. They don't have a problem with camera and microphone if you plan to have camera and microphone, because you know, chin is open, there is enough room for the microphone and many more like that. So let's see now, let me tell you now what I'm looking when I decided to buy a helmet. I always buy and I always use only Enduro or dual sport helmets, always. And there are many reasons, and I'm gonna list you each one of them here. But the first that I will start is not even related to the model of the helmet, it's more about the color. I always buy white color helmet. It's not because in the dark helmet is going to be too hot. I don't really believe in this. Even if there is a difference, it's not that noticeable because you have like 3-4 centimeters of foam inside. It's insulated very well. So the difference between black helmet and white helmet, I don't think it's that big. But the visibility of white helmet and black helmet, it's really noticeable. That's why I always prefer to buy white helmet, because I will have this good visibility from a long distance. The helmet is the top of the rider, and the top position that will be much better for drivers to see it if you have a white helmet. Just easy to see it. That's why I always prefer to buy white helmet. I always buy helmet with a peak. I already told you the reasons. I always buy helmet with integrated sunglasses. I already told you why. I don't want to bring another sunglasses with me. Even if I bring another sunglasses with me, they will be only when I'm not riding, just when I walk around if I want to have it, but they're not necessary. I always try to buy a helmet that weighs as less as possible. If you have possibility and money and budget to buy some carbon version or something like that, they will be even better. But if I have to choose between two helmets, I always will try to buy as less as possible weight, if you understand what I mean. In terms of the finish of the helmets, there are two types of finish. First is gloss and the second is matte. I always prefer to buy a gloss finish if I have this chance, because a gloss finish keeps the helmet always nice and shiny. This matte finish, after a few months, got a lot of dirt on it and you cannot really clean it. Now I should have taken here my helmet to show, but anyway, with the matte they got dirty very easy after a few months and you cannot clean it anymore. With the gloss you can clean it even with wet pipes or something like that, and it always looks nice and shiny. I already told you that I need from the helmet enough room, because even with the Enduro helmet, some of them, even that they've got this chin here, extended chin, to some of them it's not that extended and they don't have enough room. One of the models that I can compare now is the model from Next. It's an Enduro helmet with chin and peak, but it is just, there is not enough room inside here. So that's why I prefer to have the helmet that provides the maximum room here between my chin and the chin of the helmet, if you understand what I mean. Number 7 is a good ventilation that you can close. The helmet that I bought from O'Neill, I knew in advance that I cannot close the ventilation, but I knew that I will be able to type it on the top and just keep riding. But it's not so convenient, because sometimes you ride and it's chilly morning and you prefer to close all your vents, but then during the day it became hot and you will like to open the vents, but to do it so I have to stop, remove the helmet, remove the patches, and then put it again when I need it. That's why my next helmet will definitely have ventilation that is possible to close and open. So that's everything about the helmet, guys. As I said, the best helmet is the one that suits you. I told you what I need from helmet, I told you all the pros and cons, and final decision of course is going to be yours. So now if you add something on the topic of the helmets, please do it so. As you know, many people will watch the stream after that. It will be beneficial for them. If you have any additional questions, please do it so. Ask me. If I'm able to reply, I'll be more than happy. So go ahead, guys. Richard. Always get measured and try for size. Fits is everything. I agree with this, Richard. The best option will be if you can try a helmet from this brand. For example, if you like a Nolan helmet and you like to buy a model from Nolan, try to find at least a helmet from Nolan. It might be a little bit different model, but you'll have an idea how it will fit on your head. For example, the shape of IROC that I've got, the IROC Commander, the last helmet that I've got before this O'Neill, was fantastic. It suits me so well that on the first day I bought it, on the first day I rode more than 350 kilometers without even removing it from my head. It was so nice. It was a brand new helmet and used it for many hours without any problems. It's so important. As Richard said, fit is everything. So make sure that you have the proper size, and my advice, don't buy a helmet online. Go in the shop, especially in the Western world, you have a lot of shops and a lot of options. Go into the shops, find a helmet, put it on your head, keep it for 10-15 minutes, walk around the shop, sit there and wait until you feel it. If it's not comfortable for 10 minutes, it will be disaster after 2 hours. So fit is everything. Thank you very much, Richard. Richard, if visor is very scratched, change it. Visibility is crucial, and scratch of visor makes it difficult, especially at night. Yeah, absolutely, I forgot to say about it. If the visor is scratched, and sometimes it's scratched when you clean it, make sure that every time when you clean your visor, it is first you have a water on it. So you just make it wet and then clean it. The best way will be with a spraying water to clean it and then to just with a brush or something like that, because you can scratch it very easy. And as Richard said, these small scratches are not visible when it's daylight, but during the night, man, it's so destructive and dangerous. Gordy, I have Scorpion ADF 900 Adventure helmet. What is this? Let me see it. Forest, leave a wet paper towel and a visor to moisture inside before the cleaning. Yeah, agree. No, full face. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a good helmet. Good ventilation I can see here. I forgot to say about the pin lock. So another one of the requirements that I've got is the helmet to have a pin lock. But even if it's not have pin lock, it's not a big deal, because you can buy very cheap universal pin lock from AliExpress, for example, and believe me, they work very, very well. When I bought my own helmet, it came with a pin lock, but the original pin lock that it came was not big enough. It was like this. The visor was that big and the pin lock was like this, and this was not a problem. But after my trip around Europe, a lot of dust went inside of this pin lock, and I need to remove it on some stage, even it was the original. Then a friend of mine gave me a pin lock from a made in China from AliExpress that cost a couple of lefs, a couple of euros. I put it on my helmet and it is still there. After 40,000 kilometers to Magadan and back and a lot of dust, it is still there. It works fantastic. It starts to get compromised a little bit, but after so many kilometers. So pin lock is requirements, but if it's not there, but I like the helmet, I'm gonna buy it anyway. Yeah, Forrest, yeah, this is nice what you said. Yeah, to leave the paper towel on a visor to moisture and then insert before the cleaning. Yeah, absolutely. Or if you have a small spray, they usually sell it in small containers for insects. So you can spray it a little bit, leave it for a couple of minutes, and then you can clean it very easy. Yeah. When I was now in Siberia, there were some sections with so many mosquitoes and any kind of flies. It was actually like a lot of mosquitoes. So you go with your helmet, nice and clean visor, it's like, and after a few kilometers you see nothing. So you need to stop, clean everything, and then after a few kilometers again the same story. It was like so many of them. New topic, security. How to protect your bike gear and yourself if you're careful. Okay, all right, Richard. Security will be. Agree. I have a video on this topic, but it is very old, so it will be another live stream on security. Next week we're gonna talk about security. I'm gonna tell you everything that I know so far, how to protect your motorcycle, all the options, and so on and so on. All right, guys, do you have any more questions? Anytime, Richard, anytime. So if you don't have, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you very much, guys, for being my supporter, to support the channel. Anyway, guys, see you next time. Ciao.